Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and hi if you're new here, I am Jade. Excuse this weird angle, the video will revert to its usual stance in a second, but I realised that my intro didn't come out properly somehow, so here's a quick one, just so I don't feel rude by not saying hello. Now, book hauls always make me super excited and super happy, and I literally just had book mail arrive, so I kind of thought, why not just film this now? If you're a physical book girly like me, you probably get really excited too when you receive new books, and I shouldn't, I shouldn't buy this many, but Book Outlet had their $5.99 fiction sale going on, and then I happened to go on a trip to Barnes and Noble, so that's kind of where we're at. So this box is my book mail. This is my Book Outlet delivery. I was quite good this time. I behaved really well. But before we get to that, let me show you the other books that I've got so far this month, because yeah, I shouldn't, but I have and I'm happy. Okay, so the first book I bought this month is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, because I have joined up to yet another book club, and this is their pick for the month. From what I gather, it's about a girl that goes missing and this kind of like camping trip thing, like youth camping thing, I think, and it's all about, finding her. So I think it's a little bit of a mystery, maybe thriller type book. Obviously, I will tell you more once I've read books, but yeah, I'm excited for this. I've heard very, very good things. And then for my regular in-person book club that I always go to, they picked People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So I am excited to read another Emily Henry. I read her newer book, The Great Big Beautiful Life, earlier this year, if you didn't see that video, where I spoke about that in my monthly review. So this will end up being my second Emily Henry. I do have Book Lovers on my TBR, but I haven't read it yet. So I must say, I didn't really know what this one is about, but I did just have a little look at the blurb on the back. I actually love that it has a blurb instead of just reviews. Like, bring these back regularly, please. But from looking at it, it's about two people that meet when they were younger and they become super close friends, and then they spend a week of vacation every summer together, but then they fall out, and it's about them kind of like sorting out their friendship. I know she wrote romances, so I'm guessing friendship might turn into something more. I don't know, don't want to spoil it for myself, but that's my suspicion. But yeah, excited to read my second Emily Henry. I'm sure many of you have probably read this. I feel like most people I speak to just have read like everything by Emily Henry, so I'm glad I'm catching up. So as well as getting the two books I needed to get this month, as I said, I did have a little sneaky trip to Barnes & Noble, and that can be kind of dangerous. So I have to say, this book is the reason I went to Barnes & Noble. For those of you that don't recognise it, it is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I still am yet to read my other books by her. I got them for my birthday, One Dark Window and its sequel, so I still haven't read that duology. But I have just seen everyone raving about this, and to be honest, I just wanted the Sprayed Edge, which is the Barnes & Noble exclusive. I shouldn't be this vain with books, I never used to, but I feel like I get in the hype and I see them all over social media and then I want them. It's terrible. But yes, I wanted this Sprayed Edge, so that's why I went to Barnes & Noble to pick up their exclusive copy of this before it runs out. I don't know when I'll get around to reading it. Maybe I should read her other books first, I don't know, but I've just seen this everywhere and I really wanted it. And again, in all honesty, I don't really know what this is about other than everyone saying it's amazing. Having a quick look at the blurb, which is on the inside in this one, it says that our main character is a diviner with her sister, I think, and they obviously have a special role, which sounds a bit like a psychic, and then apparently some of them go missing. That's what I gather the book's about. That's a very, very brief summary, but to be honest, I'm not really sure. But I'm just really excited to read it. If you've read it and you recommend it, let me know, because yeah, I am really excited about this one whenever I get around to it. My TBR is getting so long, but I'm happy to have all the books. Okay, and then my two kind of very impulse buys that I probably shouldn't have done are coming up. So I also picked up Kristin Hannah's The Women. I really like Kristin Hannah. I have read two of her books so far, I think, and I know I want to read more. I've had The Four Winds on my TBR for a long time, and I just picked up The Women because that's the one I keep hearing about, and I know it's been out I think about a year or so now, and I really wanted it when it came out, and I always look at it every time I'm in any bookstore that I see this book, and so I just did it. I just got it, okay? Again, I don't know a lot about this, but Kristin Hannah is the queen of historical fiction. I do love a good historical fiction, and I think this is set in the Vietnam War, and from what I think is that the main character joins up as a nurse for the army and basically enters the war as a woman. And I guess being called the women, that maybe explores the kind of role of women at war, which, you know, is kind of similar to the Nightingale. I mean, different war, and obviously probably going to be a very different story, but that explores sort of women in World War II, The Nightingale, if you haven't read it. So I'm really excited for this one because I loved The Nightingale. And then I picked up The Favourites by Layne Fargo. Again, another book I've just seen everywhere this year, and I just really wanted to try it. I have to say, I think the British cover is so much nicer. So that's one of the reasons I hadn't bought it yet. I was going to wait, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just get the British one either next time I'm back in the UK or just pay for the import or whatever. But then I just impulsively bought it anyway. I mean, the cover doesn't matter too much, does it? It's whether I like the book, but yeah. So from what I gather, this is about two people that start ice skating together. They meet in the foster system, and yeah, they kind of become really, really famous through ice skating. I believe they enter the Olympics, and then something makes them stop skating together. And then 10 years after they have their like last skate together at the Olympics, there's like a documentary released on them, and I think one of them decides to sort of join in and give her version of the story about why they stop skating together and everything like that. So it sounds really interesting. It kind of reminds me of Torvill and Dean. If you don't know who Torvill and Dean are, they are two famous ice skaters who are British, very famous, were in the Olympics, skated together for years, then from what I gather didn't, and then they now do a show called Dancing on Ice in the UK, which is very good actually. Okay, so that's my little in-person haul, and now we can go and see what I got from Book Outlet. So those of you that don't know Book Outlet, in case you haven't come across it, it is a very affordable place to buy books from the US and Canada, because books are very, very expensive in these countries compared to like the UK. So I like to take advantage of their sales. The books aren't always in like pristine condition. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Usually the most they have is like a little black dot, which apparently is how like shops mark what they're going to return and not sell anymore. So they often have that on there, which I guess is like a little return dot thing, which is a little annoying. But at the price, like as long as it reads fine, the pages are fine, you know, who cares? It's a really good, affordable way to get books. So if you are like me and buy too many, this is a good way to do it without breaking the bank. Anyway, let me open it up. Now that I've opened a box, Thao is getting very interested, so hopefully he doesn't ruin the video. I'm gonna just take them out in whatever order they've packaged them in and show you what I got. Also, they were really cruel and sent me a discount code if I spend over $50 to try and get me to buy more, and it's so tempting because that would be quite a good saving, $10 off of 50, but I really shouldn't. My TBR is already overflowing enough. Okay, the first one I pulled out was this. So as you can probably see, it was obviously returned by Target, but actually there is nothing else on here. So it looks like a copy I just bought from Target. Anyway, if you haven't seen, I previously got The Love Hypothesis and read that earlier this year, and I really enjoyed that. And then someone told me, oh, Love Theoretically is even better. So I saw they had it and I was like, well, I better try it then. It's not like a direct follow on from what I gather. I think you can read these as standalones, but it's like the same kind of idea. So this one follows someone who, as well as works her busy job, she decides to earn money on the side by acting as a fake girlfriend for people. But then she finds out her kind of, I think a kind of work rival is the brother of one of the people she fake dates. And it goes from there, really. You know, bit of a career versus personal life crisis. So kind of similar to the first one, I think, but its own story. If you've read The Love Hypothesis and Love Theoretically, let me know which one you prefer. Okay, and the next one I picked up was the Wren and the Holly Library. I have been thinking about this book a lot since I last ordered from Book Outlet, and I didn't order it last time, and I don't know why I kept thinking about it, so I decided to order it this time. As you can see again, it was originally being sold in Target. This one does have the pen mark. It's very, very tiny on the top. A little bit annoying with a sprayed edge, but I prefer it's on the top than the side. But yeah, it's a very pretty book, and there isn't many occasions you can get a sprayed edge this nice for $5.99. So this one is fantasy, and from what I gather, this one is about a kind of like war between monsters and the general world, I think. It kind of changes New York, and our female protagonist, she is a thief, a very talented one, and she ends up breaking into something called the Holly Library, which is actually run by a monster, and she ends up having to bargain with him. I think that's what it's about. I don't want to look too much more into it. I kind of like a bit of a surprise when I read my books. Okay, and the next book I have is The Violinist of Auschwitz. I love a good historical fiction, as I mentioned with Kristin Hannah's book, and this had pretty good reviews on Goodreads. I hadn't heard of it before it came up on Book Outlet, but I was like, I wouldn't mind restocking on this kind of genre because I don't have a lot apart from Kristin Hannah's really on historical fiction at the moment, maybe a little bit, but I do love World War II stuff. I studied a lot of it at school, so I feel like I kind of understand and connect it quite quickly. I've read The Librarian of Auschwitz, The Tattooist of Auschwitz, and I've loved all of those books. Obviously different authors, but yeah, I thought I'd give this one a go. So from what I gather, our protagonist is in Auschwitz. She refuses to play, even though she was an esteemed violinist, but then she realizes that having this talent could actually be quite useful, and she could use it to sort of bargain with for things for the people in the camp. And then she meets a pianist, and it goes on from there. So yeah, it sounds like a nice story, as nicer stories can get that are set in Auschwitz. I don't know where this one was sold originally either, but there is literally no defects. This just looks brand new. And next we have Beartown by Fredrik Backman. I've heard so many good things about this lately, and just in general about Fredrik Backman. I've actually just started reading Anxious People by him, and I'm loving it so far. So I'm so happy I took the plunge and picked up Beartown. There is a line across the top where it was obviously marked to basically not be sold anymore, but other than that, perfect condition. From what I gather, it's set in a place called Beartown, and it is set around a hockey competition. I'm not usually much of a sports kind of reader, to be honest, but I've just heard so many good things about this, and I know it's a series and everyone seems to rate it, so I thought I would give it a go. Next we have You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thao. I don't know why I've always wanted to read this. I think it's the cover. It's so pretty. I'm not always into these cartoon covers, but this art style reminds me of the app Episode. I don't know if you ever had the app Episode, but people could write their own sort of animated stories. I did some of my own, but it took a lot of work. There was a lot of coding involved, and it was a lot of work. But a lot of people started putting art styles and stuff into their pieces, and this just kind of reminds me of it. And I think ever since I saw that, I just wanted it as a result. It has a nice pretty pink edge. It does have the dot for the discontinued on it, but other than that, it's perfect condition. And yeah, I'm eventually excited to read this. So I must say, it sounds really sad, but our female main character has her whole future planned with her boyfriend, and then he sadly passes away, and she can't really face it, but then something happens which sort of triggers a lot of memories, and it's kind of like a kind of healing journey, I guess. I don't want to spoil it too much, but yeah, it just sounds sad but beautiful at the same time. Next, we have Ministry of Time by Kalaine Bradley. I don't know a lot about this book, but I've heard it's a bit like Marmite. People seem to love it or hate it. So it's a little bit different, I think, to most things I would generally reach for, but it sounds really interesting. So from what I gather, a woman agrees to house a guy who is actually from the past. They've kind of figured out, I guess, some kind of time travel, and they've brought this guy back from the 1800s, and he has to obviously adjust to the modern world, and he's living with this woman. I think there's a little bit of a sort of romance and connection there, and it's all about navigating that and the time differences. So yeah, I know that's not the most detailed description, but again, I don't want to spoil it too much for myself, but it just sounds so interesting. And I saw they had it on there, and I was like, I really, really want to try this. And I feel like for $5.99, it's the perfect price to try something that maybe is a little out of my comfort zone, but that really intrigues me. And again, just the kind of dot on the top for marking it as discontinued, but other than that, perfect brand new condition. Next, we have book 2 in A Crown of Nyaxia series, The Ashes of the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. I still haven't read the first book, but I do have it, and I just saw they had the second, which is way cheaper than me getting it anywhere else. As you can see, another one that Target wasn't going to sell anymore. Literally no marks on it, looks brand new. But yeah, obviously I don't know what this is about, and I haven't read the first one yet, but I had to pick it up. And then the final book of this little haul is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. Again, another Target discontinued book. Has the little dot on the bottom this time, but other than that, perfect condition. It's actually quite a pretty cover. The tree's shimmery, and then it has this weird shimmery bit in the middle, like a circle, and it's kind of odd, but I kind of like it. I don't know. Now, I have heard amazing things about T. Kingfisher's writing, and I have never read anything by them, so I decided to pick this one up. I did look it up on Goodreads. It has pretty decent reviews overall. It's based on the Grimm brothers' Goose Girl fairy tale. But what I gather in this book is there is a girl that is raised by her mum who is a kind of like evil sorceress, and they end up moving in with this family who's to be her mum's next victims, and the girl ends up really liking the family and having to decide, if she can save them. I think that's the kind of general gist of it anyway. But yeah, I just thought that was super intriguing. So I think I make that 13 books to add to my collection, which I feel is plenty. Because I average at about 8 or 9 a month, I think. So this is just over a month's worth for me. And I am still overflowing over there. So yes, shouldn't have bought these, but for the price, so good. Like the book outlet ones, I spent, I think, literally about $50 on all of that. That includes postage as well, by the way, because once you spend $35, I think it is, it's free. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed seeing everything I have added to my little book collection, TBR. And I look forward to reading a lot of these and updating you as I do with my monthly wrap-ups. If you have any questions about any of them, please feel free to contact me. And yeah, I am going to go and try and find somewhere for all these books. And I will see you again real soon. Bye!